Hello and welcome to the 3rd annual Handmade Holidays blog hop. This is Sabrina Alery with a video tutorial for Clearsnap, and today I want to share a handmade gift with you. We have stamped iron-on transfers, which I've applied to a couple t-shirts. This would be great and easy to make for kids and older family members and friends as well. We're going to be using our Crafters inks. We have 6 new colors just released, designed by Ann Butler, and that is in addition to the 12 original colors. I'm using some stamps from 100 Proof Press, and then we have some great additions we're going to add to finish off our project using products from Epson. So let's get started. Now, the project I showed you in the introduction was a cute raccoon image ironed onto a onesie. This is going to be for a little bit older child. Our girls are very much into fairies right now, so I thought they would really enjoy this twilight dusky background with the little fairy stamp designs on the back. So we're going to be using lots of shades of blue, purple, and pink to sort of blend that shade down, blend that color down to create that twilight sky. I am using our new art daubers to apply the color. And I'm going to make sure I don't have any ink left on these. It's great if you can have one art dauber for every color. I definitely need to pick up a few more. I'm going to be starting with our shade of aquamarine. This is one of the newly released colors, again by Ann Butler. So I'm going to dab that onto the art dauber and just sort of apply that color on the background, blending it together. The transfer paper that I'm using is from Epson. It's called the Iron-On Cool Peel Transfer Paper. And this is for dark clothing, but it would work just as well on light clothing as well, as you can see from the onesie. Alright, now I'm adding some Aruba here, which is a slightly darker shade, more of a teal, and I'm just blending that into the aquamarine. The transfer paper has a coated finish. It's not glossy, it's sort of a matte color. And this pigment ink from the Crafters ink glides on very smoothly. It's very easy to blend those colors together. So I'll add a little bit more. I cut my paper here. It's 8.5 by 6, which is larger than I'm going to need, but I can be sure that I have ink in all the places that I need it. I find sometimes it's hard to blend around the edges. We're going to add one nice solid line of this wave, which is a dark royal or navy blue. The Crafters inks are a permanent ink, and that is why they are ideal for this project. You can use them on fabric, on wood, on ceramic. Ideally, they work best on products other than wood, and you can set them on fabric with a hot iron. That will help set the color into the fabric, and it will be permanent. Alright, next we're going to move on to our shades of pink. I like to start with, when I'm blending, start with the lightest colors. And that way I can make sure that I can apply a little bit more than I actually need. This nice shade of pink is Sweet Pea. I can apply a little more of the lighter shades that I need, so I can make sure that the darker colors don't overwhelm. You can always blend the darker colors over the top if need be. Kind of add on the ink on there wherever you want. Don't worry about it looking perfect by any means. We're going to blend all these colors together, and it's just really to create more of that nice background. Alright, Berry. This is one of the newly released shades. Let's create another line of color right here next to the wave blue. Grab a new art dauber for my shades of purple. Starting out with Spiced Plum, sort of a fuchsia, pinkish purple color. And I can add that to blend. Onto my background. We'll get a little bit on the underside as well. Lilac, which is a pretty new shade. Give a great big heaping of that color. And finally, purple, which is the darkest shade we're going to be using. Alright. When I've finished applying these colors, I'm going to take our color blenders and just in a swirling motion sort of blend those shades of color together. Blending the dark down into the pink. Like I said before, I've got plenty of that pink there, so I don't have to worry about it getting lost with the dark colors. I want my two lines here to stand out, so I'm going to leave those alone. Now we can get to work on our darker shades. Alright, when you're satisfied with the result, we're going to add a stamp to the top. I have this Alchemy's script text. These are again from 100 Proof Press. I chose the cling stamp style. They also come in wood block. And I'm applying our Crafter's ink in Snow, which is a white shade. And I'm just going to begin by stamping that randomly on the background. It doesn't show up all that well when you're looking straight on, but when you sort of tilt that color to the side, you can see in the light how that script shows up. I think since we're doing the fairies on this background, it seems sort of magical, like there's some spells in the air. Just a whisper of those spells. Helps the color stay nice and light. Stamp those all over in a random design if you need to see what you're doing. You just kind of lift that up and see where you need to add something else. Again, this does not have to be perfect by any means. It's not. Alright, I think I'm satisfied. So I'm going to set aside my stamp. And I'm going to add a new one. I always like to start with the largest image, this fairy. And I'm going to apply the Crafter's ink in Night. And I want to show you a little trick to applying this ink. Rather than like dabbing it on, you get color all over where you might necessarily want it. You get just kind of like rub it, brush it onto your stamp. That helps really pick up all the color. Maybe dab a little bit on top so you can make sure you don't have any bold swipes. Now we're going to stamp these silhouettes, just starting sort of in the middle. I love the way rubber stamps. You just can't beat it. We've got my main fairy there. You're going to see a little bit of that script, that white script text that we added in the background peeking through your images. I'll add some stars to the little fairy wand here. A little bit more magic. my cleaning fairy. These are from the cleaning fairy set from 100 Proof Press. I'm just going to apply these here. I think there's 4 or more of these little cleaning fairies, which are just real sweet. I don't think you ever get too old for fairies. Magic and fun. And our last stamp set here. I'll line that out. You can see our little design here. Now, if you wanted, you could cut this out as a square. Like I showed you before, I sort of did more of an organic shape that went around the design. And I think it looks a little more natural on the tee, not so much like an iron-on. And we're going to set this aside. It's really important that you let this color completely dry. It takes about an hour, I'd say, for it to be completely dry. The ink can set all the way, and you can make sure that when you go on to the next step, none of your color here is going to smear or smudge and ruin all of your efforts. I would hate for that to happen. So I would say if you're making many of these tees, I would do this step. Get all of your transfers ready, set them aside to dry, take a break, have some treats, and then we can move on to the next step. Right, so now my transfer has dried completely, and we can move on to the next step. I have a plain tee right here, just a blue t-shirt, which I know makes it hard to see what I'm doing. But the first step to get a nice warm, medium warm iron. I'm just going to make sure we iron out all and any wrinkles on the tee, on the area that we are going to be working on. And you want to make sure that you're doing this on a hard surface. Don't use your ironing board, because that's going to make for uneven ironing. You can stick a paper in there if you have a thinner knit, thinner tee. You don't want this adhesive to go through. But then we're just going to peel off this backing. This is another reason we need to make sure the design is completely dry, because we would smudge with our fingers when we're trying to pick off this pesky backing. And just slowly peel that off. And then this part is garbage. We're just going to set that to the side. And take your time and line up your design exactly how you like it. Make sure you don't have any creases or wrinkles, because your design will transfer with those. There. Sort of make sure that you're even from armpit to armpit. You can press it down there. And we're going to lay a sheet of parchment paper over the top on our design. And you want to heat this for about 25 seconds. Just move it around continuously. All parts of the iron, the front tip, the back section. Count to 25 or set a timer. I know when I've used these before just with my printer, if you don't get a good adhesion when you wash the design, it will start to peel off. But if you take the time and get it on there nice and smoothly, and it will last for a really long time, just make sure to wash in cold water. While I'm ironing, this is also setting my crafter's ink, which makes the color permanent and steadfast. So, two purposes here. in one. When you feel like you're done, your 25 seconds is up. You can set that, let it cool for just a moment. And then you peel your transfer paper off. And you end up with a nice custom design, which is sure to make any gift recipient of any age happy. To add a little more customization to your gift, we're going to be using this LabelWorks LW300 label maker from Epson to create a customized iron-on label to go along with our iron-on transfer design. So basically, you're going to select your font size, your actual font, which I've got a nice script here. Push this button to select. Type your message. I'm writing "Handmade with Love" from Aunt Sabrina. Aunt, and then select your capital. When that's all ready, then you press to click. Now you can see in this shirt that I've ironed it onto the inside. But for this baby onesie, I'm actually going to put it on the back so it doesn't bother the baby at all. You just take your iron, press it down much like we did with the transfer. And you're good to go. Thank you so much for joining me today. For product information and for more ideas and inspiration, please visit www.clearsnap.com.